Hello and welcome. We are live. It's Friday night. I've got two legends with me tonight. First guest, he's been on before, Steve Plunk, the main man, Plunkett in the house. He's becoming a Redmen TV regular. He's becoming a YouTube regular. He's a legend. Thank you very much for coming on, my friend.
I can go now after that, can't I? That was a hell of a build-up, that, mate. Mate, it's always a pleasure. I've had you on my various channels over the last couple of years, mate. So yeah, it's nice to come on, mate. And ahead of a final, mate, it'd be good to have a chat with you and Ivan, mate. So appreciate that.
No, absolutely. It's great to have you. And I know you were only on just recently with Jack, so you were doing the rounds today, my friend.
Oh,
And
yes.
it's an LFC family, as you've said, and I've said before. That's what it's all about. If you're available to do the show, or I'm available, I will do it, my friend. There's absolutely no doubt in that. I love talking about the Reds. And this man below me, Ivan Jennings, at Ivan Jennings on Twitter, in the house. Ivan, how are you?
All good, lads. Yeah, good to be on again.
Well, we're going to have a little chat about the Reds. Of course, we're going to talk about the Caraboacup on Sunday, the League Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool at Wembley, 4:30. Cannot wait for that. But before we get into that, we're going to have a little chat. We're going to go backwards, a little back in time, a few days. Liverpool leads at Anfield 6-0. Let's talk about 6, baby. What a win from the Reds. 3-0 half-time. We've been talking about it. Ivan Keith was with us talking about it as well, Steve. I mean, it was all about winning that game. If you can lay down a marker and win it, it's even better. Plus, you're bouncing into the final. But what was your thoughts just to take away from that game the other night?
Oh, mate, you know, if you're going to have a preparation for a final, that's it, isn't it? 6-0 at home, and both your centre-backs score, and your two guys that have come back from AFCON are hungry enough to get a brace each, mate. So, brilliant performance by the Reds. Bit patchy early on, first 5 minutes or so, and Leeds had some energy about them. But, you know, Leeds came to us having won one game in 12. So as soon as we went in front, they kind of were reminded of what it feels like to be behind, and their spirit was quite quickly broken. In terms of the performance going forward, mate, at times it was absolutely electric. It was really, really pleasing to watch. And it was like watching a team that's building for something. It's kind of like, you know, that moment in the opera when they start building to the big crescendo at the end.
Crescendo, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what our season's going to be, and hopefully it'll be a historic one. But mate, great performance, and you know, I know Salah scores 2 goals from the penalty spot, but his overall play on the night was absolutely superb. The give and go for Matip, the reverse ball, the no look reverse ball for Henderson to set up Mane, ridiculous. What preparation that is for a final! It couldn't have gone any better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Steve. I mean, Ivan, another one as well. I mean, as I said, we did a bit of pod a day or two before. We were talking about it. It was an important game. People were even saying it's probably even more important than the League Cup final itself, because we can get within 3 points of City. We can literally get up their arse. It was so important to win the game. If you can get a load of goals, which we did, +4 now on City. I mean, it's huge. It was a huge win for Liverpool the other night. And I say Mosalah was on a different planet the other night, wasn't he?
Yeah, like we were talking about last week, and like the positives, we've got all of them here. So the 6-0 win, the performance, Salah, the two at the back scoring, no injuries, and a full squad to pick from on Sunday, with the exception of the two that were out, it looks like.
Yeah.
But if it had gone wrong and we lost or we drew, the momentum goes, or we pick up an injury or something like that. But like as Steve, I like that analogy, the crescendo. It's building and building and building. 9 on the trot. We absolutely smashed them. Like when you look at it now, there probably wasn't a better team to face than Leeds, because they just have one game. They're so open. They just go. They keep going, and I fear for them now. I can see them potentially going down, which would be awful. But we destroyed them. We absolutely destroyed them, and it was just an all round perfect performance. Absolutely perfect performance.
Yeah, no, it was, as you say, and even Mane getting the double as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Mane and Salah have some great combination, don't they? Though, yeah. Well, it's been coming. Both of them could have had hat tricks, really. I mean, Salah probably should have had a hat trick. I know two great penalties. Second one was just like postage stamp, wasn't it? I mean, it was post office stuff. I mean, it was top of the range. Luis Diaz. I mean, okay, he didn't score. He one shot. I think he hit Mane's head. It was probably going top corner, but Steve. Luis Diaz has been impact, hasn't he? Some impact he's given us.
Yeah, he's kind of an amalgamation of early Suarez and early Mane. So you've got that South American want to play through the knock, likes the physical side of the game. He's got a bit of swagger, a bit of cheekiness about him. He does leave a foot in. He's got that element to his game. And then you've also got the hunger. Getting passed around, yeah.
Salted popcorn, or is that salted popcorn? Sorry, it's okay.
Yeah. But I hope it's salted, not as salted, mate.
Salted,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Not yet, anyway. So yeah, he's got the hunger that Mane had when he joined the club. He's a guy who's got something to prove. The way he's picked up the press and the counter press, Klopp said it himself. He didn't even have to speak to him about the counter press because he just gets it. And you can see from the way he plays, he's got a really high footballing IQ. The runs he makes, the timing of his runs, the positions he takes up. So you can't believe that a player of that ability was only us and Spurs in for him, and how easy it was to get him. But he's in the club now. He's going to be an asset for years to come. What a superb footballer. I'm really, really excited to see how this guy goes and his development certainly in the short term, and then obviously next season when he's really bedded in and had a pre-season. I think we really get to see the best out of him next year.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we'll move on to the big one now. Sunday, 4:30, Wembley. The oligarchs against Liverpool. I have to mention that, but I just want to beat them. It is Chelsea, of course, and we all know Roman Abramovich is involved with Chelsea, and we know the issues there. We won't go into geopolitics, but I just want to beat Chelsea the weekend. I think it'll be a tight game, lads. I mean, we won't walk all over them. They're a decent side, European champions. We've had 2 draws with them. Both games could have went either way, to be fair. You know what I mean? We could have lost both those games. We could have won both games. So I mean, it's not all out Liverpool, but we're bouncing into this final. Whereas Chelsea are sort of stuttering up the hill to it. They will put out a good side on Sunday, and as I say, it will not be an easy game. I think it's really down to what team Klopp picks, especially midfield. I think wins us this game. Kelleher starts. There's your certainty. Kelleher starts ahead of Alisson. I think he deserves that. I think it was a big shout from Klopp, to be fair, and it really, really shows you the trust Klopp has in young Caoimhe Kelleher. Start them in a big cup final. Well, it is a big cup final. It's basically a cup, and it could be your first one in the cabinet of the season. So, Steve, what do you think of that call by Klopp to give Kelleher a start?
It's the right call.
Yeah.
It's the right call. We've got a young lad here that really has never let us down. We haven't been able to say that in recent years about number 2 goalkeepers. What we as a fan base need to do is stop comparing like for like within the squad. So Kelleher is not Alisson. Manuel Neuer is not Alisson. We'd be disappointed if Manuel Neuer played instead of if Alisson wasn't playing. That's the level that Alisson's got to. So this lad's never let us down. He's a great goalkeeper, technically very good. If I had a concern about him early doors,
off his line, he's not fast.
Cast your mind back to the Chelsea goal that Pulisic scored. He stayed at home. Van Dijk ran away from him, trying to cover the other side of the goal, expecting him to narrow the angles. He didn't do it. It was a very, very easy finish for Pulisic. But he's changed that side of his game in more recent games. He's been very quick off his line. Not always convincing, but very quick off his line. It's the right call. This is a guy that we need to keep in the football club. At some point in the future, the idea of being a number 1 somewhere else is going to come calling. It's bound to happen. If we can keep him interested enough in certain games, and we can manage his expectations, could he be the guy that takes over from Alisson when Alisson's career comes to an end? Who knows? But right now, you look at, the options we've had recently. Adrian, Simon Mignolet was not a great number 2. Loris Karius. It's nice to know that if you have to call upon him, he never lets you down. So good call, right call, and I don't expect him to be anything other than reliable come the game at the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I concur with that. I'm sure Ivan does too. Ivan, with
Kelleher,
we know he starts. So,
like when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, like when we first heard it, I kind of went, really? Like,
it's a bit unusual for a manager to do it. It is unusual.
And then I kind of went, oh, okay. And as you said, he hasn't put a foot wrong. He really hasn't. And I think Klopp obviously wants to hold on to him because, like, he is 24 now, and he's going to be tapped up by other teams and other squads to go in as number 1. And we're in a really lucky position where our first and second choice goalkeepers, there's not a whole lot between. Well, there's 10%. I don't know what it is, but we're not really taking a step back by putting him in. He's not Alisson for sure, but we're not losing a whole lot by putting him in there. And he's got us through some of these rounds on his own, and I think of the penalty saves against Leicester. So when I first thought of it, I didn't think it was a great idea. Now looking back on it, I think it's a great idea, and I think this is a massive game. There's silverware at stake here, and I was watching Ray Houghton and Nigel Spackman talking about this game, and Houghton won it for the first time in '86 with Oxford, and it was just incredible for him, and then again in '87, I think, with us. So this is a big deal, and when you talk about momentum and crescendos building, trophy in the cabinet on Sunday, and we are flying for the next couple of months. We really are.
Oh, look, we are flying. We make Ryanair look bad. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I've got a good question actually from Rory Fitzgerald. He's not in the chat, but he actually sent it to me on Twitter. Here he goes. Here's one for the panel. Name 9 subs that could cause some big names to miss out. Geez, that's a big bloody question, isn't it? 9 subs. He has Allison. Obviously, Allison's going to be the sub for Kelleher, Gomez, Kanate, Costas, Jones, Elliott, Milner, Jota, Origi. Jota's touch and go, by the way. I have a feeling Jota makes the bench. I know Bobby's gone. Bobby doesn't make it, but
I think certainly in the press conference today, Pep was very much giving him a chance and said, he was running in straight lines, he was running side to side, doing some ball work and stuff like that. And they usually don't give that much information away if they're not close. So I think he will be in the squad. Whether he comes on or for how long he comes on, I don't know, but I can't see him start.
There's a psychological element of having someone like Jota sitting on the bench as well.
Yeah.
And it might be that he's not that close and we don't use him, but don't let Chelsea know.
Just to have him there, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep your powders dry, as they say. Keep them there. Because for me, I just think it's a lovely little thing to have there, isn't it? I mean, you're going into war basically, and he's there.
He's different, and
you look at different.
You look at the lads that they have at the back. They're like ourselves, and like City. They have that bit of gamesmanship in their players. The Rudigers and the Aspilicuetas, they've been around the block. They know how to defend. They know how to annoy players. They know how to pull jerseys and stand on people's toes and call for free kicks and throws that aren't theirs. So having somebody like him has a potential to come on if the others aren't working. There's a huge mind game going on there. So it'd be great if he makes it. Really would be, even if he doesn't play.
So we obviously know Kelleher's there. So the back four for me, I think, is the back four. I mean, Matip, Van Dijk, it has to be Trent, Robbo. I don't think you mess around with the back four, lads. What do you think?
I think Kanate is the only one I'd have a question mark on. And are we going to see
for Matip?
For Matip, yeah. And it's down to whether Lukaku plays or not. I would prefer Lukaku to play, because I think we'll handle him. The concern I have with Chelsea is when they play those little smaller number 10 type players and they play for them, and we're not having to deal with a centre forward. We're having to deal with these runners coming on the second ball all the time. That's my concern. So if Lukaku was playing and I had a bit of an influence, I'd go with Kanate. If it was the other 3 or 4, I'd be putting Matip in. That would be.
I think the opposite. If Lukaku plays, I'll let Van Dijk and Matip beat him up all afternoon because they did it to him last time we played. My worry would be, and it's this: I watched the Chelsea game and Ziyech went off injured. Ziyech has been playing on the left-hand side, coming in on his right foot with his quality. He's not quick, but he's got quality. Ziyech is out, so you throw Pulisic in, who's not got the same quality, but he's like an Exocet missile. He's lightning quick.
He's fast.
If Joe goes on one of his soirees into the opposition's half and loses the ball, and Trent's up there as well, there's a big hole behind for those to run into. Kanate will do his defensive duties first and foremost and won't bother doing the Matip thing where you step into midfield and take people on, which I love, by the way. So I guess the reason why I'm thinking possibly Kanate over Matip is they're going to have pace. Because if they go with Pulisic, Havertz and Werner, Pulisic, Havertz and Mount, who's like that because he's coming back from an injury. He was on the bench in midweek but didn't play. You need someone who's upwardly mobile to potentially combat that. Kanate is quicker than Van Dijk, so you're really going to get someone who's got the afterburners. Yeah. So it's a really interesting one, but I might say that, but in my heart of hearts, I think he's going to go with Matip anyway.
And I think with Matip as well, like Matip has been going on these little mazy runs forward, right, over the last couple of months, and it's been coming and it's been close and whatever. I think Klopp will go into final mode here, and we probably won't see the most free-flowing game. Klopp will want to win. It'll be like the Champions League final. I don't think the game will be pretty. And I don't see us probably playing the high line that we normally do, or if Matip plays, Matip kind of going and leaving a hole. And I think that'll probably talk to how he sets up the midfield with Trent. I think Henderson will play on the right to give that extra protection and a bit of width. I don't think he'll go with Elliott there because they'll all want to come inside with Salah. So I think this for Klopp, this is get the trophy in, win the trophy first and foremost.
It's all about winning, Ivan. It's all about winning and going again. It'd be literally win it, lift the trophy, get back on the tour bus and go again. But the thing about it is basically, I mean, there won't be any tour or if Liverpool win the League Cup.
I think it's Norwich on Wednesday in the FA Cup, is it?
Yeah.
Go again.
And then West Ham at the weekend. So it's a schedule, isn't it? It's a busy schedule. So
won't even have time to celebrate. But the other thing about it is, I think the midfield's key for us. It's key for it. Usually the games are won and lost in midfield, but I think he'll go. I think he'll keep it tight. He really will. You can always change it if it isn't working. But I mean, Thiago is just turning it on the last few games. He has to start. He's one of our better players now. Fabinho, you can't leave him out. I think Henderson, Fabinho, Thiago start.
Agreed.
What do you think, Steve?
Your head says that. But we started the season with Elliott instead of Henderson on that right-hand side in a game at home against Chelsea. And it was working to some degree until they got the player sent off and then they shut up shop with the 5 at the back. My only thought is this. Our strength is our forward line. Their strength is a defensive line. There's a strong possibility, picking up Ivan's point before, that those two could literally cancel each other out and it become like a stalemate, become a boring game where a set piece or a mistake or a moment of genius,
penalties, penalties.
Something like that.
Yeah.
If you've got that situation going on, you can afford to have someone with a bit more guile and a bit more about them, just sitting slightly in behind that in the form of someone like Elliott. That could pull a rabbit out of a hat when you need him to. He's got the ability to beat a man and have a shot. I do also think he'll go with the 3 that he trusts and knows that they'll do the job, because you have to look after what you've got first and foremost, like you say, and get the game won. Yeah. I just would like to see Liverpool take the game to Chelsea, quite simply, Dave, because we're better than them.
Yeah. No, I think a good option, or another option, and Keith brought this up 5 or 6 weeks ago, would, instead of having the one sitting in front of the back 4, do a 4-2-3-1 and play Henderson. Henderson potentially. No, not going to work.
I'll tell you what.
Then you can bring Elliott in, and you have that bit of guile, and you're playing 4 up front, and you have a very solid protection in front of the back 4.
Maybe you do that if you're chasing the game with 15 minutes to go and you have to go for it.
It wouldn't be my preference. I'd still go with Henderson on the right and keep it 4-3-3.
And he will do that. He will do that. I think my worry with the 4-2-3-1 is it can become very congested in the centre of the park. And if you've got Mane playing out of position in a number 9 role, and he doesn't do the things that Bobby does and doesn't do the things that Jota does, he just picks up the ball and tries to create havoc by beating men and getting shots off. And that might be what it takes on Sunday, something from Mane like that. If you've got 4-2-3-1, I think you shut down the spaces that the likes of Diaz and Salah want to play in. Because you're congesting right at the top, at the front of the diamond, you're almost compressing the whole pitch and putting bodies in there. So I don't ever think we've done that particularly well when we've played it. And that's just my personal preference. I like giving Salah the freedom to come inside and beat a man with yards in front of him to play in.
Yeah, rather than it being tight. But Paul Owens has a good point here. Hi, Reds. Matip has played twice in a week. Can he play 3 times? Canate start, I think. Yeah, I think Matip could be rested for the Norwich game midweek anyway, so he'd probably have a week till the next league game. I think Canate Matip is probably a toss of a coin, We went over that, but I think that could be a toss of a coin. I think it's more midfield. Will he play those 3 boys in the midfield, or will he go with Elliott, or even Curtis Jones? Curtis Jones was decent the other night as well.
Very good.
I mean, he must have put himself in the frame. That's all he could do, have a good game and hope Klopp picks him. Now, the front 3, we know Bobby is out. Poor Bobby's going to miss the final. Jota is a major doubt, it has to be said, but I think the 3 of us think he'll make the bench. Whether or not he'll even get a kick at the ball is another thing. But Salah, Mane, and Diaz is tasty. And those boys were on fire the other night. If they're on fire against Chelsea, I don't think they can live with us, boys.
No, I don't think so either. And what they are is really fluid, and they're all really direct, and they all want to get at the man that's marking them. The first thought is when they get the ball is, I'm going to beat you, to the guy that's in front of them. And, you look at Chelsea's back line, they're going to play with Azpilicueta as a right wing back because James isn't fit. So Christensen is going to have to help cover that right-hand side because Diaz will have him on toast, mate. Then you're going to exactly, yeah. And then you're going to look at Thiago, who's Thiago Silva, tremendous reader of the game. Yeah. But at 37, you don't have the legs you do when you're 22, do you? So Salah and Mane will be looking at him going, I just want to get one-on-one against you. And then you've got the third centre-half, which is Rudiger, who's an absolute lunatic and capable of anything, just wants to fight for the whole game. And then Marcos Alonso on the left. That's not great. And if you're our front three, then we've all just pulled really excitable faces when we talked about putting them front three out there. We need to play on that strength because it's huge. They literally could take the game away from Chelsea in a burst because we've seen them do it time and time again.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility that will happen. I still think this will be a tight game. No one will want to give away the first goal in a cup final. No one will want to lose it because it's end of February. This will give either team a boost. We're still in all the competitions. It'll give us a huge boost. We're 3 points behind City. We're still in the FA Cup. Look where we are in the Champions League. I just take a little trophy, put it in the cabinet. It's not the trophy we all dream of winning. Let's be honest here, guys. But it's still a trophy. It's against Chelsea. It's in Wembley. It doesn't happen every year. It's been a while since we've been at Wembley for a cup final. So
I got a question for you guys.
Here we go.
Right. Does Klopp need to win a few domestic trophies other than the Premier League and the Champions League? So when his career's over at Liverpool, three guys like us three will sit down and rank him amongst the greatest Liverpool managers of all time. Do you think League Cups and FA Cups need to form a part of his trophy haul to get there?
I think so.
Go, Ivan. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I think so. And Carragher mentioned this a couple of months ago or whatever. When you look back, that we haven't won what we should have won based on how well we've played. And I think we focused on the Premier League and we focused on the Champions League, which is right. And probably with the squad that we've had, that made sense. But you look at Chelsea, they've gone after the FA Cup, or City have gone after the Caraboacup. It's about trophies. And I'd hate to look back in 20 years' time and think of Jurgen Klopp's time as not being brilliant because we only won 2 major trophies. But it's been incredible because it's about trophies, but it's also been about the journey and, losing the final or finishing second by a point and a millimeter of a ball over the line. The journey has just been incredible, and that'll stick with me for forever because I don't think we'll judge Klopp just on trophies. As much as I want him to win more,
100%.
He's been so much more than that.
Exactly. I was just about to say that as well. I mean, trophies are beautiful. They're the bonuses. They're like the Christmas decorations, but it's about the Christmas tree. It's not about the decorations. For me, it's about the whole lot, the whole shebang. You walk into a restaurant, it's the ambience, it's the smell, it's the rattling noise in the background. Then you can sit down and eat your meal and drink your wine and talk about what Klopp did. But for me, it's the whole package around Liverpool, the stadium development, the new ground, the players, the fans, before the game, after the game, podcasts. It's everything in the last few years that Klopp has given us since nearly 7 years now, October 20.
Think about it since...
Unbelievable.
Since we last won the league. And I know we've had FA Cups and League Cups and even the Champions League under Benitez. But there's always been something not right with the club at the time. There's always been the owners or the stand or there's a player leaving or there's something under the hood that's not working. We've no money or whatever it's been. Now we've got everything has come together. And you still have people complaining.
We've no money. We've no money.
And we're still going to win the league. Do you know what I mean? So it's now we're on a journey now where pretty much if you have a bit of common sense about you, things couldn't be better. And you're not always going to win everything. And sometimes it isn't about winning everything. It's just being there in a position at the last minute to win.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
Steve, I mean, we're three old men. I'm definitely old, but anyway, we've seen the bad times. We've seen the 90s. We've seen the noughties. We've had a few good wins, and we've had 2005, of course, the Champions League. We've had 2006, the FA Cup win. 2007, we got beaten in the Champions League final. We've been close 2 or 3 times in the league. But what Klopp has done and came in, I don't know whether it's the last 7 years. I call them Instagram fan, TikTok boys. They expect us to win every bleeding game. How hard is it to win every game? Even the great United teams never even did some of the stuff we're doing right now. And they're still not happy.
No, well,
What's
it's a
going
parallel.
on?
It's a parallel universe, social media, isn't it? It's like if anxiety and bad feeling festers in social media quite a lot of the time. So, if you go to the ground and talk to people who go to the games every week, they're not representative of the Liverpool fan base. What goes on Twitter is
No.
not representative of the Liverpool fan base. It's bizarre at best, but it's okay because it's what people want to do, and it gives people an opportunity to talk to like-minded people. But like you said, I tweeted last night. I remember Liverpool 81, 84, 90, all the shite that went on after 90 to what is, I believe, Liverpool's greatest ever achievement in winning the league after 30 years, given the changing face of football and the challenges that were put in front of us. We're in the best place we've ever been. We talk to players not having enough players. We saw fans putting these squad depth charts up on Twitter. We've got 7 guys who've scored more than 5 goals in front positions at the moment. We've got 8 centre midfielders and 7 centre backs and 4 goalkeepers. I don't know about you three, but I used this earlier on Jack's show. We signed Paul Walsh in the summer of '84 and went into the following season with Kenny Dalglish, Ian Rush, and Paul Walsh. And that was your pick 2 from those 3 every game.
Yeah.
We've now got 7.
Yeah. And they're still not happy. They're still not happy.
Stick your depth charts where the sun don't shine, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
I like Stephen Richards' optimism. I predict a 4-trophy clean sweep this season, says Steve. Now, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be lovely.
Can you imagine?
But as I say, what do you think Chelsea will do? We'll, before we finish this, we'll have a quick chat about Chelsea. I mean, their season's been hot and cold. It's been a bit like, the Three Bears type of thing going on. We've been just right. We are Goldilocks, but they're walking into the forest there. Hot or cold, or is it, you don't know what's going on. I mean, what's your take on Chelsea? I'm not saying, it'll be a tough game on Sunday. There's just no doubt about it. But what's your take on Chelsea in their season? What's going on there? Do you know what's going on there?
I think they'll be pragmatic. I think they really will. I think they'll show us a massive mark of respect. I'd fully expect them to play on the counter. I fully expect them to use set pieces to try and get something. They are good exponents of set pieces because they've got some height. Havertz scored a belter of a header against Liverpool in the draw at Anfield. What they've got, Dave, is really intelligent runners. And this is why they won the Champions League final, because we all mocked Timo Werner for not being able to score last season. But his intelligent running in the Champions League final was the difference.
He made space for them, didn't he?
He stopped City's centre-backs joining in the game. And if that's what I believe Chelsea will try and do to Liverpool, stop Van Dijk hitting those laser-guarded balls by offering him something that keeps him occupied. So I don't expect Chelsea to come out all guns blazing, because history says if you do that to Jurgen Klopp teams, you usually end up with a pretty heavy beating. I think they'll be very pragmatic. I think the challenge is for Liverpool to go and impose themselves on the game and go and impose their strengths on the game. If we turn up and we take the quality and we perform on the day, I'm 100% convinced we win the game, because we're better than them. But we shouldn't rule them out. They're world and European champions. And when we were world and European champions, we shouted from the rooftops, and rightly so. So should they. It's not a game you really want, but it's there. But I think we're better than them. And I think they'll be pragmatic. And I think there'll be some solutions and some problems for us to find.
I think whoever takes their chances, you've got to be clinical. I mean, in big games, like, we've missed a lot of chances and we scored a lot of goals. But I think if we would have taken all our chances, we would have had twice the amount of bloody goals, because we do miss some bloody openers. I just think it's no nerves. It's a cup final. The good thing is it's not the only thing that we're in. If it doesn't happen and it doesn't work, which I'm hoping it does, it's not the end of the world, lads. We've a lot to play for this season. And maybe that takes a bit of pressure off. I don't know whether that works for or against you. But Ivan, I mean, Chelsea won't be easy. I'm going 2-1 Liverpool. I think there'll only be a goal in it.
Yeah,
something like that.
They will be pragmatic, and I think we'll be pragmatic to an extent. I expect us to have the kind of usual start that we try normally, and have a go at them very quickly for 10 or 15 minutes, and we'll see where we go. And we were lucky when we played them the last time. We got the 2 goals with Manny and Salah, so maybe something like that. But I think equally Klopp will want to get this one done. I think, as I said, they're all, like, certainly at the back and in midfield, they are all experienced footballers, and they're not naive. They're not going to make silly mistakes. They're not like the Harry Maguires or the Luke Shaw's or the others. You know, they're not. They're smart,
Thank
and
God.
they'll get tight. They'll be physical. They'll call everything. So we're not going to beat them 3-0 or 4-0, and it's going to be a goal here or there, and maybe it'll go to penalties even. Do you know what I mean? Which would
Kelleher
be great.
becomes the hero with the penalty save. It's possible. It's possible.
It's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
But they're listen, as we said, they're world and second European champions. They are no mugs. They are no mugs.
No. Well, guys, I think we leave it there. We're half an hour in. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Obviously, enjoy the game.
I hope so.
And there's a trophy lift or a Hendo shuffle or whatever you want to call it on Sunday.
I think he's got a new shuffle. He was asked there. I was watching LFC TV. They were asking would he do the shuffle on Sunday. He said he might have something different. So
here's what I'll do, guys. If we win it, when everybody in the studio at Redmen does the Hendo shuffle at the same time as him, I'm going to film it on my phone and post it on Twitter straight away, mate, because it'll be a good crack.
You might get a few clicks on that, my friend. You might get a few clicks. Dave, have you got your booked flights to Paris? Oh, yeah, the Champions League final, by the way, has been switched from St. Petersburg to Paris for ongoing craziness, which was the correct decision. I'm sure we will all agree. Guys, I enjoyed that very much. Ivan, as usual. And Ste in the house. Hope to get you on a few more times, Ste, because you are a top man. Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. I enjoyed talking to you about football, Dave, and it's been nice to meet you, Ivan. So if you need someone on your show, mate, just give me a shout, because I've got a lot of time for you, Dave. So I'll always come on, mate.
Thank you very much, as usual, and hopefully talk to you again. Enjoy your weekend, boys. That's it. Thank you very much. Hit the like, hit the share, hit what you want. I'll be hitting the bottle Sunday night if we win. Let's go. Liverpool to beat Chelsea. This means more.